The most underrated Huberman episode. I'm talking about episode 56 titled Dr. Alia Crum, Science of Mindsets for Health and Performance. Dr. Crum, a professor of psychology at Stanford, dives deep into the world of mindsets with Huberman for nearly 2 hours, and I'm here to give you the cliff notes. Your mindset is the secret sauce to everything you do, from nailing your focus to crushing your fitness goals, growing your business, and living your best life. But what exactly is mindset? Your mindset is a set of beliefs or core assumptions that shape how we make sense of the world and ourselves. The way you think about anything plays a significant role on how well you will do. Your mindset guides your thoughts, feelings, actions, determining whether you soar to success or stumble into failure. The first step is to figure out where your mindset is already. So here's a quick self-assessment to determine where you are. Ask yourself the 6 following questions. What is my mindset about food? What is my mindset about stress? What is my mindset about money? What is my mindset about relationships? What is my mindset about my potential? And what is my mindset about exercise? And Dr. Crum taught me something new. Your mindset also affects you physically. It changes the way your body reacts to the situation. Dr. Crum talks about the milkshake study, which studies the question, do our beliefs in what we are eating change our physiological response to that food? It's a case that studies the placebo effect. Many people write off the placebo effect. They don't give much value to this strange occurrence. Recently, it's been given a second look, and the milkshake study is a great intro on how it can affect your body and mind. So check out this clip.
We've moved from, medications solving our health crises to behavioral medicine solving our health crises, increase people's exercise, get them to eat better. To what degree are these things influenced by our mindsets or beliefs about them? So to test this question, we ran a seemingly simple study. This was done at the Yale Center for Clinical and Translational Research. And we brought people into our lab under the impression that we were designing different milkshakes with vastly different metabolic concentrations, nutrient concentrations, that were designed to meet different metabolic needs of the patrons of the hospital, right? So you're going to come in, you're going to taste these milkshakes, and we're going to measure your body's physiological response to them. This was a within subjects design, so it was the same people consuming 2 different milkshakes, 2 different time points separated by a week. And at one time point, they were told that they were consuming this really high-fat, high-caloric, indulgent milkshake. It was like a 620 calorie, super high fat and sugar. At the other time point, they were told that it was a low fat, low calorie, sensible sort of diet shake. In reality, it was the exact same shake. It was right in the middle. It was like 300 calories, moderate amount of fats and sugars. And we were measuring their body's gut peptide response to this shake. And in particular, we were looking at the hormone ghrelin. So as you know, ghrelin, hunger, medical experts call it the hunger hormone, rises in ghrelin, signal, seek out food. And then theoretically, in proportion to the amount of calories you consume, ghrelin levels drop, signaling to the brain, okay, you don't need to eat so much anymore, you can stop eating, and also revving up the metabolism to burn the nutrients that were just ingested. What we found in this study was that when people thought they were consuming the high-fat, high-calorie, indulgent milkshake, in response to the shake, their ghrelin levels dropped at a 3-fold rate stronger than when they thought they were consuming the sensible shake. So essentially, their bodies responded as if they had consumed more food, even though it was the exact same shake at both time points. So this was really, interesting and important for 2 reasons, really. One was that it was, to my knowledge, one of the first studies to show any effects of just believing that you're eating something different on your physiology. Lots of studies have shown that believing you're eating different things changes your taste, and even your satisfaction and fullness after. But this shows that it has a metabolic or a physiological component. But the second piece was really important as well, and especially for me, this was one study that really transformed the way I think about how I approach eating, and that was the manner in which it affected our physiology was somewhat counterintuitive. So I had gone in thinking, the better mindset to be in when you eat is that you're eating healthy, right? Like, it just makes sense. Like placebo effects, think you're healthy, you'll be healthy, But that was a far too simplistic way of thinking about it. And in fact, it was the exact opposite, because thinking that they were eating, when these participants thought they were eating sensibly, their bodies left them still feeling physiologically hungry, right? Not satiated, which could potentially be corresponding to slower metabolism and so forth. So if you're in the interest of maintaining or losing weight, what's the best mindset to be in? It's to be in a mindset that you're eating indulgently, that you're having enough food, that you're getting enough. And at least in that study, we showed that has a more adaptive effect on ghrelin responses.
So in other words, when you see a celery stick, you label it as a healthy food, but when you eat it, you don't feel full. Maybe rather than looking at it as a healthy food, look at it as a fulfilling food. What we should do is look at healthy food and view it as a full meal. Naturally, calorie intake plays a role, but mindset still is part of the equation. Dr. Crum perfectly summarizes it here.
Because in the reality of things, if a drug outperforms a placebo, then, you start prescribing it. But the reality is that the total effect of that drug is a combined product of the specific chemical, attributes of that drug and whatever's going on in the placebo effect, which is, at least from our perspective, it's beliefs, it's social context, and it's your body's natural ability to respond to something. So, that's in the placebo effect example. The same is true for everything we do or consume. So when it comes to what diet you're eating, both are true. It does matter what it is, and it matters what you think about that diet and what others around you and in our culture think about that diet, because those social contexts inform our mindsets. Our mindsets interact with our physiology in ways that produce outcomes that are really important. So let's not get dualistic and say, it's either all in the mind or not in the mind. Let's also not be unnecessarily combative and say, it should be all plant-based or, keto or whatever. It's all of those things are a combined product of what you're actually doing and what you're thinking about. If you believe in it, if you don't, if you're skeptical, or, in some cases, you think you should be eating a certain way and then you don't live up to that, it might have even an adverse effect because of the stress and the anxiety associated with that.
As Dr. Crum puts it, keto or carnivore diets work because they align with your beliefs. When you are enthusiastic about a new lifestyle, you go in full force. You create this momentum. And when you are convinced it saved your life, you tend to show a negative reaction to a person that challenges those beliefs. Like the CrossFit people. Now let's talk about thinking negatively, because it can go both ways and how it affects the mindset. For example, when you think you're not eating correctly, it will have an adverse effect because you're thinking negatively about it. It's why I get a headache when I eat sugar. It may be because of my age, but it's also have a strong negative view on processed sugar. This is good and bad. If you're eating processed sugar and think it's bad for you, it's going to help you move away from it. But negative thinking can hurt you. If you think you will not be able to improve your career, love life, or any other challenging situations, it can prevent you from doing so. And you're not alone in this. We all have to deal with this. Dr. Crum's housekeeper case study shows how changing your negative view on a task can physically change you. So let's take a look at this clip.
How would you study? If the benefits of exercise were a placebo, how would you even test that? Because, what does it mean to give a placebo exercise? So we sort of flipped it on its head, and we found a group of people who were getting a lot of exercise, but weren't aware of it, that they were, right? So we settled on a group of hotel housekeepers. So these were women working in hotels who were on their feet all day long, pushing carts, changing linens, climbing stairs, cleaning bathrooms, vacuuming. It was clear that they were getting above and beyond at least the Surgeon General's requirements at that time, which were to accumulate 30 minutes of moderate physical activity per day. But what was interesting was when we went in and surveyed them and asked them, hey, how much exercise do you think you're getting? A third of them said 0. Like, I don't get any exercise. And the average response was like a 3 on a scale of 0 to 10. So it's clear that even though these women were active, they didn't have that mindset, right? They had the mindset that their work was just work, hard, maybe thankless work that led them to feel tired and in pain at the end of the day, but not that it was good for them, that it was good exercise. So what we did was we took these women and we randomized them into 2 groups, and we told half of them that their work was good exercise. In this case, it was true, factual information. We oriented them to the Surgeon General's guidelines. We oriented them to the benefits that they should be receiving. And then we had measured them previously on their physiological metrics like weight and body fat and blood pressure. And we came back 4 weeks later and we tested them again. And what we found was that these women, even though they hadn't changed anything in their behavior, at least that was detectable to us, they didn't work more rooms, they didn't start doing pull-ups or push-ups in between cleaning hotel rooms, as far as I'm concerned. They didn't report any changes in their diet, but they had benefits to their health. So they lost weight, they decreased their systolic blood pressure by about 10 points on average, and they started feeling better about themselves, their bodies, and their work, not surprisingly.
As Dr. Crum mentions before, your community plays a role. It helps formulate your perception. For example, if you're an athlete, you may not think you're exercising enough compared to your peers. But to what's considered healthy for an average person, you're probably in the top 5%. Another great example are people who are trying to get ahead in life. For example, an executive that makes $300,000 a year, she may still feel depressed because her $1 million home is considered small when compared to her peers and not the national average. Even though she is the top 1% earner, her perception is affected by her community, which puts her in a negative mindset. So I hope you're kind of seeing how mindset can really distort your reality for the good or for the bad. In this podcast, Huberman brought up sleep. When he was younger, he would get minimal sleep as a grad student. And of course, study shows that you need proper sleep to prevent Alzheimer's. Dr. Crum shares a study where participants were informed by researchers that a test indicated they had experienced inadequate sleep. The catch? The test was fake. Regardless, the fake results led the participants to perform poorly in real cognitive tasks. So you may want to think twice about those wearable sleep devices. When the device tells you you got poor sleep, your body may physiologically start to act sleep deprived, where in fact your body and mind is capable to perform fully for the day. It's not all or nothing. You can't live on 3 hours of sleep each day. But don't discount yourself when you do have a bad night of sleep. Now let's talk about stress. Stress and mindset goes hand in hand. Let's go back to one of the self-assessment questions I asked in the beginning. What is your mindset on stress? Pause this video and take a few moments to think about an answer. Now listen to this clip from Dr. Crum on how mindset can control stress.
And our question was, does orienting people to different mindsets change how they respond to stress? So this study was done in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. We worked with UBS, a financial service company that was undergoing pretty massive amounts of layoffs. So these employees were stressed about being laid off. They were taking on more pressure. It was just a tough time. And we randomized them into 3 conditions. And this was all pre-work before getting a training on stress. But the 3 different conditions, some watched no videos, some watched the stress will crush you videos, and some watched the stress could enhance you videos. And what we found was that just, it was a total of 9 minutes of videos over the course of the week led to changes in their mindsets about stress, which led to changes in their physiological symptoms associated with stress. So people who watched the enhancing films had fewer backaches, muscle tension, insomnia, racing heart, and so forth. And they also reported performing better at work compared to those who watched the debilitating videos. Now, interestingly, we didn't make anyone worse with the debilitating videos,
Well, that's
which
good.
was good. We had
good.
told that the IRB we didn't expect that because that message was already out there. That's what they were already seeing. That wasn't new to them. It was more this enhancing perspective that turned out to be inspiring.
Later in the video, Dr. Crum talks about 3 ways to handle stress. 1, acknowledge it. Own the stress. 2, welcome it. Why? Because you're stressing about something you care about. It's an opportunity to reconnect to something you hold dear. And 3, utilize it. Spend time to achieve what you want. Don't spend time, money, and energy worrying about it. That's why I love this podcast, because it shows how we think about things can affect many parts of our lives. It gives us the tools to create a more positive environment to succeed and to make us self-aware that maybe the major difference between someone who is succeeding to the one who isn't is their mindset. If you have any examples how mindset changed your life, please comment below.